Well, alrighty then. Then what we're going to do is I'll go ahead and go through the information, and then I will be sure and ask them. I'm sure they're going to place information somewhere that you can access, but the part that you need to write down will sit on that screen a little bit. So here we go. What we're talking about today is the opportunities that are available to you from the recent pandemic that occurred. As you know, all over the globe, we had an issue where suddenly the time and the day and the world stood still. Everything came to a screeching halt. We lost the ability to go to services. We lost the ability to travel. We lost the ability to even just do something as simplistic as go to an appointment or go to schools. And so suddenly, stay at home everywhere, and we moved into a one-dimensional lifespan. We suddenly had no access to other humans. We had no access to things that used to be very hands-on, such as purchasing groceries. And so for those people that don't work in the technology fields, it was a very strange feeling for them. It was very difficult for them to go through that and to start to understand that they were going to have to learn to live life a little bit differently. I think what it really has shown us is the drastic levels that all humans are on the technological scale. We have an assumption that it's 2020 and everyone has technology skill sets that can move forward. And the truth of the matter is that we still have many areas that are tech poor. We still have many people that are, because of age or other situations, really don't move around in the technological space as well or as easily as they could. So unfortunately, the pandemic pushed everybody into that. To question, how am I going to live my life? How am I going to manage things? How am I going to get food? How am I going to, educate my children? All of these things became apparent to them and suddenly became really something of a situation. One of the things that I always think about is how can I benefit in a situation and create a new experience for myself, and how can I be helpful to the others? I think that's always something that's very real for me because of the technological background. These things come very easily to me. I don't really get any struggle issues with technology, and for them it's a lot different. So one of the things that we saw was secondary schools, K through 12, moved online. Many universities that were already offering online expanded their services online. Everybody was starting to move over and starting to learn there. We were able to order food for delivery, groceries for delivery. We were really starting to get an opportunity to have everything done with the click of a mouse, paying our bills. All of this moved over. Our life as remote learners and remote living began in March, and we're now in, depending upon where you live, roughly 3 to 4 months of doing this. And so the results were people were forced into technology, and they're now learning how to utilize it. And even some of them are starting to like it, but more so the pandemic isn't going away anytime soon. It's morphing and it's changing. There's a lot of alternatives. And so people are thinking about, how am I going to continue keeping this in my life? Whether it's short term because I'm going to continue to work from home, or it's long term in the essence of, I'm not sure what my workplace is going to do during this. I'm not sure if my kids start back to school and we have another outbreak and they get sent home. Lots of these variables are going to be continuing over the next several months. And so it's something that technology is going to be more prevalent in people's lives than ever before, because they're going to continue hanging on to it. And businesses that they rely on are going to continue utilizing it. One of the things that you learn from these kinds of situations is, where are the gapes in what people are using and how they're doing it? So a good example of that is looking at, what are the opportunities available? For example, a lot of small businesses have struggled to move online, maybe to sell their products, maybe to get their word out that they've moved online. Others have, been concerned with what is it that they need to do that in terms of software, hardware, what type of apps can they use? Maybe they've always been a pen and paper kind of business and now suddenly need to have their inventory in an online environment. They need to be able to connect that to some sort of supply chain so that they can reach out and get materials out to you. All of these things have come together. So some of the opportunities that I've noted over the last few months that have come up, and I want you to start thinking about your own personal situation and the things that you do. Think about the technical skills you possess, your knowledge of hardware, your knowledge of software. Maybe you are very good at utilizing apps or reviewing apps. Maybe you've actually built apps. Looking at creating websites. Do you do them from scratch? Are you good at knowing applications like WordPress or Squarespace? Are you good at editing websites that you're really good at? Are you good at social media and pushing materials out and getting an audience and growing an audience in that area? Maybe you're an instructional or graphic designer, so you already know what it takes to put courses together. There's an ability to do those types of things. And then business development. Do you understand how to launch a business online? Do you understand how to handle all of the different facets that come with doing that? Do you understand about doing marketing and communications in an online environment? All of these things are skill sets. There's a million other things that can happen with that. But my question for each of you, and you can answer in the chat if you'd like, is each of you are coming to this conference because you have a background and you have a marketable talent. During the pandemic, have you taken advantage of reaching out and helping others either through volunteer or through paid work by sharing your talent with someone else? If you haven't, the question is always why. The obvious reason is oftentimes it's tied to your current role and perhaps you don't have the ability to do something outside of that. But if you have the opportunity to freelance, if you have the opportunity to volunteer, if you even are thinking about changing roles somewhere along the line, this is a great opportunity for you because people are needing services and you have a chance to really try to change what you do, start to create a new pathway. I love this. So somebody said, not yet. So you're thinking about it. That's important. Someone else said they got overwhelmed by the situation. That has happened for a lot of people, and that's okay. The difference is that you've recognized that you've gotten overwhelmed, and now you have the opportunity to move forward and to say, okay, I'm past that. Here's what I want to do next. We've had people who have been training people to utilize Microsoft Office and Google Classroom, mentoring professionals to highlight their skills and accomplishments. Those are the kinds of things that they're in your wheelhouse. They're there, they're easy, you can give back easily. But the other thing I want you to think about is, what are you wanting to do as the pandemic continues and at such time when the pandemic either slows or we come to some adjustment? We're talking all about opportunities. So this type of situation is available for you to help people in the short term because it's really vital that we support each other. But in the long term, if you've been thinking of switching your role or changing the role you're currently in, or even going out on your own as an entrepreneur, this is a time to start to test all of those types of things that you want to do because there's a lot of opportunities available. So I'm going to do a quick exercise here for all of you. So you'll need a pen and paper. And if you don't get all 5 today, this is just something that you can think about long term, which is think about the 5 professional skills that you were trained in or you've acquired skill set in. So 5 things that come to mind. I'll give you an example of myself. So I'm trained as an instructional designer, so my credentials are in that area. I have worked as a faculty and as an administrator. So I have experience in administration and I have experience in teaching. So that's 3. I run my own business now. So I'm an entrepreneur. That's 4. I also have done a lot of volunteer work over the years and expanded my skill set by learning and recognizing how nonprofits work. I've also worked for for-profits to recognize how they work. So I have an understanding of global initiatives in building businesses. So that's 5. Those are the kinds of things. Think through what you do. Make your list of your 5 professional skills, either that you're trained in or that you've acquired experience in. For a lot of us, we gain experience over the years. We get put into situations in our jobs or in our roles that force us to learn a new skill set. So once you have your list of 5 done, what you're going to do is 3 steps. First step is you're going to place a star next to what is your passion. And if you haven't listed a passion on that sheet, make a note of it and go back and add that. All of us do our best work when it's something that we're passionate about. So if your professional life sits here and your passion sits here, you're missing a real opportunity in the middle there of taking what you enjoy doing and using that in a professional manner. So think about that. If you're not seeing your passion on that list, add a 6th skill, which is your passion, and may replace one of those top 5. The second step you're going to do is you're going to place an X next to what comes easiest to you. So look at those things that are listed and mark an X next to something that you could do with your eyes closed. This is something that you go to work and do every day, or this is something that you've taught for years. Most of us that teach regularly and train regularly can usually do our curriculum in our sleep. We've gotten it to a fine point where we know exactly how it runs. We know exactly what we're going to do with people. And it's just not a problem for us to think through it. Step 3, you're going to place an exclamation point next to the skill that you are the weakest in. And it's not to make you feel bad that you have a weak spot. It's to make you decide, is that one of your top 5? And if it's so, then what are you going to do to correct that weakness? Are you going to take more training? Are you going to look at other learning opportunities? Are you going to volunteer so you get some practical experience in that? What you want is you want to see with these 5 professional skills, your range from the very best that you bring to the table to where you still have knowledge, but it's at a little weakened state. That's going to give you your areas to start your game plan. So you're going to create a plan out of these opportunities, and you're going to test that opportunity right now while the pandemic is going. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to put a plan together. What is it that you want to do in the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and a year? You really want to look at what's that going to take? Are you going to change roles? Are you going to add on freelance work? Are you going to do something entirely different? And if so, what's it going to take to do that? That could be salary, that can be benefits, that can be just time to finish out a certain project you're currently working on. Lots of things are in there. The second thing you're going to do is once you have that plan figured out, you're going to test it out on a couple people. So who are your confidants? Who are the people that you know you can go to and say, think about this. What would you think if I did this? Get their honest feedback. Massage your plan if you need to based on what they're telling you. You may say, oh yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Align it again, and then you're ready. Now it needs to go out to your network. And your network is not just the people you connect with on LinkedIn or maybe the people that are in your Facebook group. Your network is everybody, because what you never realize is the people in your entire network, all your contact lists, your phone lists, all of those people are connected to other people. So you could suddenly come up and say, I've decided I want to do this. And there could be someone who knows of someone who's already doing it that they could connect you with. So never shortchange your network. Never look at only one area. If you want to roll it out in phases, you can do that and ask one group first and then move on to another group. But never disassociate anyone when you have the opportunity to get that feedback from them, because it's really important and it really can help you move along even faster. Again, think about your timeline. So how soon are you going to work through this? Who are you going to talk with, and how are you going to move it forward? And then weigh your options. At what point are you going to say, okay, this is what I'm going to start doing now, or I'm ready to take on a freelance role, I'm ready to start something new, what's the impact that's going to happen for that? If I'm going back to school, for example, I need to think about how much time is going to be for class, how much is going to be spent on studying, how much is going to be spent on getting ready for the next class or doing large projects with groups of people. All those things become time factors, and so you have to weigh out your options. Is now a good time to do that when I'm still working on something else, or am I going to wait a month and then start then? Lastly, keep an eye on the pandemic cycles. Things are going to continue to change for the next year or two. And so you want to be ready. If you start to see again where there's a minor shutdown, or there's people in an area that are struggling to work with services or online situations, and you've got the skill set to help them and you can gain something from it, that's the time to actually do it. Recently, there was a small town that listed that they are struggling with getting their small businesses back up and running. A couple of people volunteered to help them, to figure out their networks, to figure out how to get their client base onto email lists so they could send out information to those folks. Really went in and just helped them set up shop. What it was 2 graduate students who are interested in starting their own business. So what better way to learn than to go into businesses that are already in existence and have a variety of situations that you can learn from and understand, work through that process with them, take the best practices that you learn from it, and then start your own business. So there's a lot of opportunities right now, and there's going to continue to be if you look for them and really think about them. We have about 2 minutes. I'm going to let you post if you want to ask any questions in the chat box. If not, then I will ask and make sure that you can get a copy of the slide deck to go out to you. And I appreciate all of you coming. I hope that all of you do stay safe throughout this. Somebody asked about how to approach big companies and say that I'm happy to volunteer. One of the ways to do that is to reach out to their HR departments and find out, do they have situations where they are looking for interns, they are looking for mentors, they are looking for anyone that can come in and help them through a particular situation. Are they seeing a gap analysis in how they're doing business? I think you need to say to them, I'm looking to get additional experience. I would love to also help you out with the situation at hand. Make sure you have a clean copy of your resume and hand it out to them and see what you get back from them. So thank you, Neha. I appreciate that. Yolanda, you're quite welcome. I will let all of you go because I know you have another presentation to get to. I hope that you're enjoying the conference. I hope that all of you please stay safe during this situation and that you take advantage of the opportunities available to you. Bye-bye.